Good day, everyone. So today we will going to discuss about the article and language policy in Japan. So to begin, um, let's go to Miss Krista Diane Folkestad.
So first question. Describe the English test like NCUEE, EIKEN situation in Japan. So EIKEN or test in practical English proficiency in terms of definition of proficiency levels remained, sugge- suggesting that the policy would be implemented within the existing academic year's level framework rather than genuinely genuinely attempting to develop actual working proficiency in English. So 15 years later, in the 2018 tender process for a commercial English test, ICANN's initial bid was unsuccessful because productive skills were not tested systematically at all levels, and ICANN subsequently developed new tests to meet the tender requirements. So this is according to Asahi Shimbun 2019. ICANN was originally established under government supervision. ICANN's lack of preparedness seems to symbolize the problems in English language teaching or ELT in Japan. So the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology or MEXT justified its proposed reform by referring to the need to test productive skills, which are the speaking and writing, and the receptive skills, which are reading and listening, as well as the convenience of using commercial tests. In Japan, students take the examination administered by the National Center for University Entrance Examinations or NCUEE under the control of mixed. So for admission to public, national, prefectural, and municipal universities and some private universities, the examination takes the form of multiple choice questions using OMR sheets, unsuitable for assessing productive skills rather than allowing NCUEE to test these skills. So, however, Mix decided to outsource the task.
Thank you for that, Miss Krista Diane. So let's proceed to number two.
So the number two question is differentiate de facto activity versus de jure policy towards language test. Let's start off with de facto. Shohami 2007 sees language test as de facto language policy because tests are capable of affecting the behaviors of teachers, students, parents, and institutions, as well as national educational policies. And according to Johnson 2013, a de facto activity can occur in practice despite the declaration of de jure policy. So for de jure, on the other hand, in the case of Japan, the de jure policy statements that promote communicative approaches to ELT are assured by the facto educational practices influenced by the university entrance examination, which is an issue that MEXT intended to address through examination reform.
Number three, what is the major purpose of teaching English in Japan? For the reason, many Japanese students still struggle to communicate in every the most fundamental forms of the language. This is due to the fact that the English curriculum in Japanese schools is primarily focused on assisting students in passing the written university entrance test.
Number 4. Explain the concept between grammar translation method and English for communicative purposes. Grammar translation method is a method of teaching foreign languages derived from the classical method of teaching ancient Greek and Latin, while English for communicative purposes, on the other hand, is a set of tailor-made communication courses designed to improve students' conversation skills and exposure to everyday English. Central to this conflict are diverging representations of English for communication and English as a system of structural rules to be examined through the learner's mother tongue. Japanese really having a hard time coping with English language because of some reasons. That is why it is somehow difficult for them to acquire English language because of the lack of educational support, and also their mother tongue is highly implemented to speak on their nation.
So thank you for that. Let's proceed to question number 5.
So, question number 5, describe the new course of study scheme in Japan. So, the passage describes how the Japanese Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, or MEXT, attempted to influence English language teaching, or ELT, pedagogy in high schools through changes in the university entrance examination system. Specifically, MEXT proposed the use of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR, as a reference for setting national targets for English language proficiency. The new senior high school course of study, which was announced in 2018 and to be implemented in 2022, referenced the use of CEFR in assessing English language proficiency. However, the implementation of commercial English test in 2021 university admission process prior to the implementation of the new course of study in 2022 was criticized for being hasty and contradictory. While MEXT emphasized the importance of systematic and continuous study at home, it also stated that classroom teaching following the current course of study would be sufficient to gain adequate English language skills for qualifying or certificate exams. MEXT suggested that CEFR levels pre A1, A1 and 2, and B1 and 2 correspond to primary, junior high, and senior high school levels respectively, but also stated that a commercial test being at a higher level than the course of study would not be a problem. Overall, the passage highlights the complex and evolving nature of language education policy in Japan and the challenges of ensuring coherence and consistency across different levels of education and assessment systems.
So thank you for that. So let's proceed to question number 6.
Number 6. Explain the challenges and phase towards Common European Framework of References for Languages. The statement on Common European Framework of Reference for Languages in the course of study is rather limited, and whether Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology is aware of such issues in relation to CEFR is unknown. In fact, CEFR is only mentioned in the course of study guide, not the course of study itself. Each English subject sets objective in areas of listening, reading, speaking interactions, speaking presentation, and writing. 5 skills based on the international benchmark. In the guide, further information on CFR is given in footnote, but no actual descriptors are provided. As mentioned earlier, mixed purposes that pre-A1 corresponds to the achievement level of grade 6 primary school's pupil 12 years old and A2 to level of junior high school graded graduates 15 years old. The main challenge faced towards CFR and Japanese new scheme is the lack of unified system for assessing language proficiency. EFR CFR is a European-based system that is not widely accepted in Japan, and the Japanese new scheme is not yet widely accepted outside of Japan. Additionally, there is a lack of research of data to support the effectiveness of either system. Furthermore, the two systems have different criteria for assessing language proficiency, which can make it difficult to compare the results of tests taken using either system. Finally, there is a lack of resources available to help teachers and students understand and use either system. That's all.
So thank you for that, Andrew. So lastly, for the conclusion of this discussion, as discussed above, the historical influence of the university entrance examination on ELT English language teaching in Japan not only remains pervasive but difficult to dislodge. The diversification of university admission processes introduced through the 2003 Action Plan to cultivate Japanese with English abilities was not able to significantly reduce student tendency to desire to sit the center test, demonstrating that the entrance examination has not yet lost its power as the central instrument of allocation. English teachers Japan continue their joking ego teaching approaches and would probably rationalize those approaches as being practical in the light of current situation. Time and effort are required to communicate the rationale behind the changes and to provide supporting mechanism to ensure compliance and ultimately acceptance among teachers. The official view is that this failure resulted from the potential unfairness to some candidates mainly for socio-economic reasons, but further examination this demonstrate that it also raises other key issues in ELT such as the washback effect, GTM, monolingualism, native speakerism, communicative competency, and the application of CEFR to the national education system. That's all for today's discussion. Thank you and God bless.